So, what was your first time like experiencing or seeing any type of like gang activity in your neighborhood?
Um, it was when I got into the seventh grade, right? I graduated from the sixth to the seventh grade, and I think I was about 12 years old, whatever. Yeah, about 12 years old in the seventh grade. And back then, they had the busing, right, where they would bus you out to a white school. And so they bust us out to, I think it was Maryland, they called it, and in La Jolla. And I didn't realize it then, but now I realize it, is that they were finding any excuse to kick you out. Every day, people we knew was getting kicked out of La Jolla and had to go to Memorial. I mean, kicked out of Maryland's, and not Maryland, was it Maryland's? I can't remember what school it was, but it was out in La Jolla. I'm thinking it was Maryland's. But I got kicked out. I got kicked out. I don't know if it was a couple of weeks or a month or whatever, and then I went to Memorial, right? And when I first went there, I didn't see any gang activity or anything like that. But I remember one day, I don't know how long I was going there, but I remember one day going to school, and I saw these guys running around acting like they were gang members, right? But these guys, when I finally got involved in the gang lifestyle, I realized that they weren't. They were just pretending, right? Pretending, but they were trying to act like. But when I saw that, my curiosity really got me, right? It got me. But what ended up happening is that when you go into school, and then when you live over there, you're hanging out, and you're going to the park, you hang out in the community, you start running across some of the guys, right, that are banging and so on. But it really wasn't. It wasn't that transition yet from into Crips, but West Coast LTD, which I believe stood for Limited, and kind of like a car club to my understanding. And then from there, it became West Coast Wrecking Crew. A lot of people know them, but they had the bumper jacket that said West Coast LTD on it. And they were organized, and they used to have parties at Memorial Park and things like that. But those guys, the OGs, the founders of West Coast Crip, West Coast I should say, and West Coast Crip, I used to see them. We used to see them, right? Because when you're in your community and you see them, and a lot of times when we saw them, we admired them because they seemed like they were kind of, for me, they were kind of like the heroes in the community. They were kind of like the people that everybody's looking up to and everybody feared, right? And even myself, and my friends like Laverne and all of us that would see them, we admired them like, man, these dudes are raw. Can't nobody, we thought that they were the toughest gang in San Diego, because everywhere we went, no matter where we went and so on, we saw them. When they were thrown down, they turned it out, right? And that was, you're talking about people like Sitting Bull, 4-5, Byron BK, all these guys, Smiling Out, Killer Shark, a lot of guys that I looked up to that was older than me, that was kind of the original founders of this and so on. And I admired these guys, right? And looked up to them. And what ended up happening for me is that, me, Laverne, and all of us, because we lived over there, we claimed that, hey, this is our set, but we really wasn't like in it. Go ahead.
At what age did you start claiming, would you say?
I was around 12. I kind of like when I started going, and going to the park and different things like that. We started, even though, and let me just back up and say this, like the originals, the homies, the founders, there ain't no way they would have let us, claim, right? So we were like wannabes, saying that this was our set. So make that clear. But I would say, like, when it really like kind of turned up for me, I think I was around 13 years old. Maybe, yeah, 13 years old. I had probably in the 8th grade. I think that's when it was. And for me, on a personal level, I had a friend named Rick, Ricky Otis, and we were going to school together. And his brother was 4'5". So Rick was already banging hard, talking about I'm little 4'5" and all this, and so we started hanging out together. Cause, yeah, I'm from the coast too. I didn't have no Crip name at that time. Cause I think I got my Crip name when I was in the 9th grade, but I was running with him too. Cause everybody just called me Corn. But I was running, and I remember this is like when I knew that this was it. This was my life, you know. Before I just want to be, I just wanted to hang out and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm from the coast, but really, you know, wasn't from the coast from perspective of running with the homies and stuff like that. But at age of 13 and then going to 14 is when it really kind of turned up for me. And I can't remember if I was 13 or 14 years old, but I remember I was with Rick, and I went over to his house, 4-5, and his brother 4-5. They were getting ready to go to South Crest Park because back during those days there would be you would have bands and different things that would come to the parks and play. They would go to Ocean View Park, different parks, and so most time we had the coast. We always had to go across town to have a good time. We could never we never had anything on our side of town, so. You know, so that was just normal for us. You know, we go into enemy territory and we gonna do what we're gonna do. But I remember us being at South Crest Park, and there were some Central City gangsters up there, and I'm here, I'm young, you know, around 13, 14, whatever age I was, and I'm with the homies and stuff, you know, hanging out thinking I'm somebody, you know, with all these big homies and stuff. And I remember something's about to jump off, and all the coasters, they went into the bathrooms. I said, let me go in and see what's going on. So I went in there with them. You know, I'm just in the back observing, checking it out, but I'm with them because I'm with 4-5. You know, 4-5 is one of the founders, you know. And one of another gentleman that I grew up with, MT, we call him MT, Mayo. We were the same age, but, you know, he was a gangster way before me. But because I think even in elementary, he was kind of like a gangster. But I remember MT, we the same age, and I saw MT, and everybody surrounding MT, and so they took out a gun. It was a sawed-off rifle, and they gave it to him. And I saw his boldness, like, man, he you know, he ready to throw down here, you know. So when I saw that, it kind of inspired me from the perspective of, you know, violence and gangs and things like that. Man, this is what I want to do, because they were together, they were organized, and they looked out for each other. They had your back. They made you feel welcome. They made you feel a part. You know what I mean? And it was a camaraderie and a unity that was there, that was stronger than any bond that a parent or anyone else could have. You know, and I'm exaggerating when I say that, but that's really where it was. I got to a place to where that I was saying, when I'm talking about West Coast Crip, I love my set just like I love my mama. Right? That's how deep I was in it. That's how I felt about my set, and that's the way we felt about each other. Right? We were sold out for each other. And when I saw that unity, that togetherness, when I saw how bold and courageous they were, and how they were, nobody got shot or anything, but they were thinking that someone was scared to jump off, and they was ready to throw down, right? Because we, of course, outnumbered it over there and so on. But nothing really went down that day. But that was the day that I knew that like, this is the life I want to live. This is it. I felt connected. I felt accepted. Nobody judged me or anything. And from that day forward, it was on. I was like, hey, West Coast, and we became roller coasters, right? The Young Bucks. I don't know when that song came out. The song came out a little later, but I think it was like in '76 or somewhere around there. And it was I was about 14 years old, and I remember that song came out, Roller Coasters, and we became that first West Coast Crip Young Buck crew, right? And we called ourselves the Roller Coasters. The youngsters did, because we couldn't run with the OG. We ran with them, but they had their thing. So we had our little clique, our little group, and we called ourselves Roller Coaster off the song Ohio Players, Roller Coaster, and then we said Roller Coaster.